Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and 107.7 of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And this is the Angel Rock. Hang tight, guys. Never fails. I get this intro is too short. Thursday nights, I can get this done. I'm just starting TikTok here, so give me one sec. I got it live, but then to put all the little goodies in here to make it work. And I can't do it before I go live. I haven't been brave enough. If I ever go live, I guess, and use StreamYard on my own, I can play with it. But I was lucky to find this, actually, because I think I'm the only one on the network that streams to TikTok. So hang on, we're going to open the live monitor. Give me one sec. I got one more thing to do. Well, two more things. So hang tight. I see Michelle Wilfong there already. Welcome, Michelle Wilfong. So give me a sec here. Now we just got to add TikTok and then we can get into all the intro. Thank you for sharing, Heidi. I just missed. I seen that for 2 seconds and I seen that you said you shared. So thank you. We appreciate when you share. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Are you going to behave yourself? Please cross your fingers. Looks like we did. Good. Okay. So welcome, you guys. Like I said, my name's Laura Lee Potvin. I'm the host here of the Angel Rock. We're going on 6 years in July pretty soon and love being here with this show. Also, I'm a co-host of a second show I started here on the network with a good friend of mine, fellow medium, Angel Channel, David Hansel, on Thursday nights called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 9 p.m. So I hope you'll tune in for that as well. If you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. I'm going to get to comments in just a second. Heidi says she can't find a way to tag you. So I don't know if you might be able to figure that out while I'm doing the housekeeping, but I thought I'd mention it. Here, I'll highlight it for you so you can see it. That's okay, Heidi. If you shared it late, that's good because people get busy and they forget. So I find the closer to the show, the better for people so they know. Like I said, please like, share, and subscribe to all your friends and family. It's not all just UFO-y and paranormal things here on this network. I think we're almost up to 40 live hosts on the network. And we stream multiple shows 7 days a week live. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks into the last 25 plus years. This network has been around, yes, 25 plus years. And randomly pick shows over the last 25 plus years. And so we actually are streaming live 24/7 here on this network. What else do I want to tell you? I guess I should tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Laura Lee Potvin. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, as well as a registered nurse. I'm also an animal communicator. The beautiful lady sitting next to me, who I will get to in just a minute, one of my mentors, and she is the master at it when it comes to my level, but I'm working on it. I'm also well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler myself, and am extremely well versed in the paranormal. I say I didn't go looking for it; it found me, and we shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. You can find that on YouTube. I think you can find it on Netflix or Amazon. You can find it all over the place. So it is out there if it's something you might want to see. What else do I want to tell you guys? Hang on. If you guys want to watch this on TV, you can. The network has its own channel. It's on Roku. So you're going to sign into Roku and go to the channel store. I don't have a channel code for you. So this is the easiest way to find it. You go to the channel store and type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down list and we're about the 3rd or 4th one down, at least on my devices it is. And you're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us. I know there's something I'm missing. This network does broadcast to every country in the world, but 80% of our audience is audio only. So I always say, if you can't see us, you can't join the conversation. And if you know about the Angel Rock and my second show, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, both of those shows are very audience participative. Without all of you, Julie and I would be having a wonderful conversation, but my audience always adds so much to the conversation. I love each and every one of you, so thank you very much. So if you are listening live and you're thinking, how do I comment? Because we always shout out the audience after I introduce my guest, we definitely will. How you can do that, there's a few things I'm going to read to you here now. I know our guest, Julie Jeanne Bassett, you're streaming to your Facebook page, right? Julie Jeanne Bassett?
Well, they've got a link there they can click on.
Oh, no, it's not streaming for you?
That's okay.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll go through all these things, and then I'm going to read your bio, and then we're going to figure that out right after this, because it's a live show, folks, so anything can happen live, and that's the fun of the show. So you can stream it. If you go to my Facebook profile, Laura Lee Potvin, where I'm streaming tonight, Julie, you should be able to stream it live from there. If you share it live to your page, I think you can do that. And it should show you, because that is live. It's a public profile. I believe you don't even have to be on my friends list. You can comment and watch there. We're streaming to my YouTube channel, which is the Angel Rock with Laura Lee Potvin, as well as our now main channel for the network, UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. We're streaming to the network's Twitch channel, which is UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network. We're also streaming to the Angel Rock on Instagram. I should pop in. We've got Kareem Majid. I hope I said your name properly. They've joined in, so welcome. Sometimes Instagram kicks out after an hour. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So if you are watching and you're going, what the heck's happening? It cut off right after the hour, because this is a 2-hour show. Just head over to YouTube. I find that's usually the easiest and fastest way to find the show. We are all, and it doesn't put the comments in from the Angel Rock on Instagram, nor does it for TikTok, which I am streaming to the Angel Rock over there. So welcome everybody over there. I want to give a huge shout out to Michelle Wilfong, who I see is here. Don't feel like you have to head over there, Michelle, but if you do, I am so grateful. She is my mod, one of my main mods for the channel, and is incredible. She does such a great job over there. She always sends little goodies. She doesn't have to, but she does. So thank you. She has an incredible TikTok channel of her own. She lives in a haunted apartment building, and she posts the most strangest activity, weird things she catches on camera over there. So please check her out on TikTok. We are also streaming to Mystique 1508 on Rumble. No, not a stripper name, as I always say. That is an old name I used to use many eons ago. It's actually from X-Men, and I believe we covered everything. You don't have to, Michelle. If you want to, feel free, but I don't want you to feel like you have to. If you're having fun over on YouTube, you stay where you want. So I appreciate that. So this lady never misses our shows ever, and she adds so much to our shows on Mondays and Thursday nights. She's been on the network before. I'm going to read her bio. Julie Jeanne Bassett, who is our special returning guest, a fan favorite, because I do hear from the guests. We have great guests on this show, because I don't have guests on Thursday nights. But when I have a really good guest, like Tom Dongo, who Julie introduced me to, when I get a bunch of private messages and then after the fact messages, I know they're a fan favorite. Julie Jeanne Bassett, who is an animal communicator, pet medium, and energy healing practitioner. She's also a shamanic practitioner. Her passion and her service to humanity is to help resolve physical, emotional, and behavioral issues in their companion animals. We're going to be talking about Julie's work tonight, but I am telling you, you guys hear me extol her virtues every single show, because she's incredible. I am starting to feel better finally, knock on wood. 10 weeks. Julie has sent me healing. I have had a shamanic practitioner session with Julie. It was life-changing. I have taken her animal communication course and kind of unlocked the door, because it was me getting in my own way with animals. She's an animal communicator, earth side, as well as a medium, and a human medium too. She actually gave me the most beautiful message from my late son, Justin, who passed away this past January. It was truly beautiful. So thank you, Julie. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. So did you figure it out? Did you figure out how to share it, hon?
I think so.
You think so? Yeah. Because I don't know why it didn't stream for you to your. Well, do you want me to send you another link, like maybe to?
Nah.
No, you're okay. Because I know you got a pretty big group, that they've got a lot to add to the show. So I'm happy to do whatever will help you out. So whatever you would like, you let me know, and I will be happy to do that. Welcome to the job. I just typed on TikTok as I'm talking. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry, guys. My brain is returning to normal after being sick and what happened, but still not quite all the way there. We've got Heather Dawn May over on Instagram as well. Welcome. Let's see who else we got popping in. We got John Delaney. or not John Delaney is his name, actually. Welcome. Thanks, Michelle Wilfong. She's over on TikTok now as my mod, doing a great job always. She said, great guest today, and I will definitely say that myself. Let's say hi to everybody here in the main chat. So we got lots of comments. We got Michelle Wilfong. She says, I can't wait. And then she said hi to both of us. Heidi Gall, again, thank you for sharing. And she was saying she couldn't find a way to tag you. So I'm not, because usually, even if you're not following someone, if you just put at and their name, it will highlight. I'm not sure. So hopefully that might help.
I have no idea.
Okay, so everybody's saying hi to one another. I always tell all my guests all the time for Monday nights, I tell them I have the best audience. I really do. Maybe I'm a little biased, but you guys are always so wonderful to people. You start to develop friendships. You say hi to one another. You ask the best questions, and you add a lot too in the way of information. So thank you. Let's see, where are we here? Heidi says, I love you, PRN. Well, thank you. We love you too. And we love all the support that we get from everybody, because I know most of you just don't watch one show. You watch multiple shows, because we have the Light Gate coming up right after this in 2 hours with Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. So make sure to stay tuned for that. We got Connie Martin saying hi, Lauralee and Julie. Michelle Wilfong saying hi to you, and then hi to me. Lisa Martinello is here. Hi, Lisa Martinello. Oh my goodness, we got Julia Evans. Sorry, I'm not getting super excited, but I do. When people stay up late at night or get up in the middle of the night to watch a show, that's really dedication. Never mind that all of you were here live. I love it so much, but I know it's late over there. Julie, you're going to have to tell me the time difference. Is it 6 hours now? She's over in the UK, because it is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we've had daylight savings time over here. So let's see. We got Kelly. She says, hi, everyone. Heidi Gall says, love both of your energies. We just love them right back, don't we? Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
Yes. Kelly says, we lost an hour. I'm not here either. LOL. Okay. Oh, and Julia says, thank you. Love your show. Well, we love everybody that tunes in. So I was asking you today, because we talk quite a bit anyways when we're not on air together like this, but I said, what do you want to talk about? And you let me know how you feel about this, but I was really feeling almost an animal pull tonight, because obviously we're going to talk about all your work, but what's been going on with the animal world with you? Have you received anything exciting, new, anything interesting to talk about to start things off?
Just been doing a lot of behavioral issues and pet mediumship and talking to animals and trying to find some lost pets, which I really don't care for doing because they are so difficult, but I try.
So what do you find? Let's talk a bit about that. And then I was even thinking animal behavior a little bit too. So, okay, so I've never tried to find a lost pet. Even I know with human beings, I've been in a couple of cases with lost children, and it's difficult. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, what do you find difficult with that? Hello. Oh, go ahead. We'll answer that question. I'm going to say hi to Carrie Lynn in just a sec, but go ahead.
What's so difficult about it is because a lost animal is always on the move. So you can
same as kids and their energy, right? Sorry.
So you can pinpoint an area, but then they're in a different area. So it's kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And their point of view, like you can do a cat, and what do you see? You can try and look through their eyes, and you see grass, you see trees. Well, that really doesn't narrow things down. But what I hate the most about it is having to tell the guardian that the animal has been is deceased. That is so hard.
I know you and I are going to be having this link tonight with what we do, because I already could hear what you were going to say, because exactly, even with kids, because their energy is I find faster moving. It was actually my eldest son that told me that as a little kid. As he got older, he noticed the difference a little bit. At least a human being if they're older, can give you a lot more information
Right.
than an animal. Hold that thought for 1 minute. I want to say hi to Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. I have not talked to her in forever. I was thinking about you today, Carrie Lynn. I don't know if you were getting the do-do-do-do. You guys, I want to give Carrie Lynn a huge shout out. She has Spirit Switchboard here on UPRN on Fridays, 6 to 8 p.m. Has a great show, great guests, and I'm so thrilled to see you here as well. So thank you for being here and popping in. No, I hear you. I heard it before you said it. Like that
Of
is
course you did.
what's that?
Of course you did.
Well, I was thinking when you were saying the worst part about it, yes, to have to tell, a pet parent that their beloved fur baby is no longer earthside. That's the part I would not like either. Oh.
And and they always want closure. They always want to know where the body is, and sometimes you don't want to tell them because they don't want to remember the animal that way.
I can definitely concur with that. Definitely. I was here actually when my son passed away. And I got to tell you, I kept saying, and I've seen lots of people that have passed being a nurse and working in palliative care. And for the first week, I kept having to really work actually with Archangel Michael and all the archangels especially, but asking them, please take that away from me. I don't want to see that because I want to remember, anybody wants to remember their loved one,
Absolutely.
how they were in life. And I'm going to share a story. I might have shared it on this show before. I usually mind my own business, but I love talking to people, and people will usually see our garden and talk and what have you. This wasn't last summer, it was the summer before. And I was sitting outside and I could hear all this commotion and traffic and people talking. And then I thought I heard someone crying. And it was about 2 doors down. And so I looked up and there was this big conglomerate of people. And at the end of the driveway, I could see this little cat. And I thought, oh my goodness, I think it's hurt. So of course I had to go over, I felt. And everybody was in such a panic. This poor woman, oh my God, she had the sweetest heart. She accidentally hit the kitty. It ran out in front of her. Nobody knew what to do. Everybody was just in a panic. So we got I said, somebody got a blanket, or somebody got this, got that. And not that I would ever pray for somebody's passing, but this animal was in a lot of pain. And I just was praying, and I don't pray a lot, but I was praying, please, angels, come and take this poor baby. Please take him. There was no way it was going to be survivable. And it did happen very quickly. But then I noticed it had a collar, and I looked at the collar, and there was a long distance number. So I called it, and this woman sounded like she woke up. And I said, what a horrible thing. I've never met this person before. And I have to tell her, I am so, so sorry. This is how I got your phone number. She was in Utah. Now I am for people that may not understand the difference, I'm in Canada, in northwestern Ontario. So I'm about 45 minutes away from the Minnesota border, and about 6.5 hours north of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So Utah and Thunder Bay are very far away. So I ended up talking to this poor lady, and that was the worst thing, right? To have to tell her, when I found out the story, I guess she had been traveling through Canada, this area in the earlier, probably about 6 months earlier, and was visiting a friend in the city, and her cat got out of the trailer and she couldn't find him, and had been looking, had to go back home, and never knew what happened to her poor kitty.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point of this story is, what a terrible thing to have to tell somebody. And I wasn't even using mediumship, so I can't even imagine with mediumship how hard that is.
Well, 2 points. First of all, when they're in that much pain, their soul has already left their body.
I knew that, but it was just the physical, and people were crying.
Yeah. And the second thing is, at least now she has closure.
Well, I had asked her, do you want me to call somebody for you to do you want your fur babies, maybe ashes or something, however you, and at first she was in such shock. She said no, but she had my phone number from calling her, and she ended up having a friend take care of that. And then she'd asked me for a picture. So I was able to take a picture because he was all covered up, but she could see his face. And she said, oh my goodness, because she never knew if somebody took him or what, but I guess he was a lot heavier. So she said he must have been out in the wild on his own, but it's not an easy phone call. So I can't even imagine. I haven't tried the lost pet thing yet. Now I don't know if I want to be able to deal with that because it is hard.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have gotten quite a bit of information from the animals because sometimes they'll see like a partial license plate or a partial house number, things like that. Or I can scry on a map and it will, I can see whether it crossed this street or whatever. So I can at least give them a partial location. Now, it just depends. Sometimes it's fairly accurate, and other times, the animal doesn't know where the heck they are. And so the information is kind of iffy.
So when you said scrying on a map, what do you mean? Like how you would use a map? I'm just curious about what you would do with the map.
What I do is I get their address for their last known sighting, and I pull it up like on my iPad.
Yeah.
On Google Maps or whatever. I do the satellite version.
Okay.
I'd blow it up and I would just start with my pendulum and
Okay.
say, okay, did you cross this street?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go north? Did you go south? And
I gotcha.
And I was able to track some puppies that were stolen one time. I
Oh
was
my
able
goodness.
to track some a cat that had gotten out, and actually the neighbors had taken it in and weren't being very nice to it.
Oh.
But they were able to get the cat out of there. I had a horse that was lost that I was able to find because they were looking in the opposite direction of where the horse actually was.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when they went the other way, they found the horse. So there are times when I have been able to help, but then there's so many times that I haven't. Or, by the time they get there, the animal's gone. And unless they're ready to go right that instant to go see, it's kind of like a needle in a haystack sometimes.
I'm going to say hi to John Minetta. I see him over on Instagram. I haven't seen you in a long time, John. I hope you're well. So I hear you with that because that is a big thing, right? That's the scariest, especially I think when your pet goes missing. I mean, even my cat's got out a couple times on me in the backyard, and I'm terrified because, he's an indoor cat. So I don't have a collar on him or anything. And the reason why is because when he gets outside, he's terrified. I don't know, he wants to go out so badly because the minute he gets out there, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? It's so big out here. The wind's blowing. So I don't understand that. I'm going to read the comment here in just a sec, and then I'm going to ask you because it's going into animal behavior, because this is a lot of reasons why, very sadly, sometimes animals get given up and people don't have an idea maybe why an animal does something or how, why are they doing what they're doing. And I know that that's where you were really helpful with my pet. So Heidi says, I'm already crying. She said, I honestly can't fathom the thought of animals getting hurt. This feeling is too deep. I cried on the white tiger on Life of the Pets, Life of Pets too, and can't watch that again. It was a cartoon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's difficult. But one thing with indoor cats, they are scared when they get outside. So they stay right around the perimeter. Sometimes they'll get under the house or under the stairway, somewhere where it's dark. There was somebody that found their cat that had gotten under the house, and they were able to get down there and finally found it. There was another one that I told them exactly where the cat was, and they're saying, "Oh, there's no holes down there," or whatever. Well, there was. And that next night, the cat came right around the corner back home.
Hello, Shannon K. Casey. I haven't seen you in a long time, so welcome. I don't know if Sean's in the background, but welcome. And I see Lady Fantasia. Wait, LP? Is it LP? Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I know who you are, though, so welcome for joining us on Instagram. Let me say hello here. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people just popping in. So if you're just popping into TikTok, we are talking to an animal communicator this evening. Good friend of mine, one of my mentors, big supporter of our show. She's also a shamanic practitioner and has been monumental with the session I've had with her. So we're going to talk about all these things tonight. But if you have some questions, please feel free to post them here on TikTok or Instagram. We do have a question for you. Connie Martin says, do more than one animal try to come through at the same time? And I'm guessing earthside or mediumship wise, Connie? I'm guessing I'm feeling mediumship wise. What are you feeling with? I'm sure she'll type in what the difference is, but what are you picking up with that, Julie?
Generally, I am very specific when I'm talking to an animal because I'm saying their name. I'm tapping into the guardian's energy. I'm saying their name. And so I'm generally just connecting with that one. But when I'm connecting with the human, sometimes I'll see a lot of animals around them.
And yeah, because she's saying mediumship wise. Yeah, that's mediumship wise.
Yeah. But I'll generally see quite a few around them. I have had some animals kind of interrupt when I'm trying to talk to one.
Yeah.
Because hey, I have something to say. It's my turn. So yeah. But normally I'm just talking to one at a time, maybe two.
Yes, I don't always get animals coming through. Sometimes we worked on, I'll get to your comment in just a minute, Heidi. You certainly can ask, Lisa. You guys can ask questions if you want. Julie, you're open to that, right? About pets, if they want to ask a question?
Sure.
So I was going to talk while we're waiting, and then I'm going to read Heidi's comment because I think that's going to get us off in a different direction. But I was going to mention, because I'm not as confident with my animal communication skills as I am with my mediumship and psychic skills. And there really is no different. We're all connected to the universal consciousness. And, if you can connect with one, I can with the other. My kids could always do it from little kids onwards. And you helped me with that. But I think the big indicator for me was when we worked, and I had forgotten about it one night when I was live, and you reminded me, with that bear, that young bear that was, my eldest son has his own house, and he had sent me video and pictures of this young juvenile bear that was up in a tree. And we were worried what was going to happen to it because nobody would come to relocate the bear. Do you remember that, Julie?
Oh, yeah. You had such a great connection with that bear. That's why I let you do it.
Well, we were trying to figure out, now this is interesting. So we were trying to figure out how to direct the bear to go back to, this would be for anybody in this Thunder Bay, the east end of the city, sort of. And there is actually a wildlife almost park preserve, but probably about 5 miles away. And we were trying to direct him. Remember? Like, I forget how we were trying to tell.
You were trying to direct him.
We were never able to actually finally get through to him because finally somebody came and they tranquilized the bear and relocated him, which should have been done because this was Sunday night, I think, when they finally did this. He had been there, for about 24 to 30 hours. And people, by being kind, were bringing like honey and peanut butter on crackers and feeding him. But school was on Monday morning. I remember we were talking about that, Julie. Well,
remember too, you were trying to figure out where he had come from. And he showed you the picture, and that's where you knew that he had come from that preserve. And that's why you were trying to send him back there.
Yeah, we were. Well, yeah, because I've forgotten completely about the preserve. And as he did, he was showing me the green space and where he'd come from. But trying to direct an animal what way to go, because I'm not good with direction. Even I'm sure, I don't know if an animal would know what north, south, and east and west is. And you'd come up with the idea about the way the sun sets and the sun rises, right? I
Yeah.
never even thought of that. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait, what do we got here? Oh, we got lots of questions. So I'm going to read Heidi's first. Heidi Gall says, Carrie Lynn, what Julie Hurt said on your show resonates. And I think of it often is the lessons, because Julie talks about this as well, of the lessons animals are teaching us by connecting with us. What's your thoughts on that?
Most definitely. They're here to teach us. They have so much wisdom to share. We just have to listen.
Plus, I think I always say we don't usually get the pet necessarily that we want. We get the pet that we need, because I almost feel like they're an earth guide here for us to help us on our way for the reasons we're here.
Most definitely. They're here to balance our energy. They're here to help heal us. They're here to be catalysts for us. Teachers, guides.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things. I was thinking healing, as you said, healing. And Lisa, I said your kitty's name incorrectly. How could I? As I was thinking about this, Benjamina. She's a beautiful cat. So we've got a question from Shannon. Do we get to reunite with our pets on the other side?
I don't know for sure because I've never been there, or at least not in this lifetime. But I believe that, yes, we do reconnect with our pets.
My thoughts, and from what I get from the other side, I most totally believe that we reunite. Even working in palliative care, there have been many times just before, usually in the last week, but especially the last couple of days before somebody transitions, they start talking about loved ones that are there. And I've had patients who have talked about a beloved pet on that side waiting to reunite. I forgot about TikTok. Sorry, Michelle Wilfong says, I have a friend. She had a beautiful Rottweiler, kept his cremains. They're here to be something they're here to be. She said, took a picture of the ashes in the air, and you can see her and the dog. It was amazing. Oh. Sorry, she said I had to tell it in 3 parts. That's beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I think we do get to reunite with our pets. But the problem I always say to people when trying to explain the other side, I always say we're looking at it from our human perspective, our human eyes, because even when doing mediumship, especially if maybe a relationship didn't end on such a great note, and one part of the relationship, I'm not talking romantic, just anybody in somebody's life that, because I'm sure you get these questions, is so-and-so angry with me because we weren't speaking before they passed, or it didn't end on a good note, or we had a fight, or whatever it is. So the way I always try to describe it is when we go, as I call it, going back home, there's nothing but love. There's nothing
but love and forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. So nobody holds anger or resentment, or all is forgiven. It's almost like the way I try to describe it is it's not that we're not our whole selves, but we've come here as a soul to be human, having a human experience. So that's all we can remember and see it from is our human eyes, if you will. But when we go back home, we see it from the whole big picture as a whole soul energy. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it, but
well, the way I look at it is all in our soul family, we have agreed to serve these roles. Mm-hmm. So, my mom and I never got along in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. But that was just the role she was here to play in my life. So I would learn and I would grow. Mm-hmm. And so if you look at it that way, is that, you had made this agreement because that is something you wanted to learn. You wanted to grow in that aspect of life. And so, yeah, my mom and I had some challenging years, but I survived. And it made me stronger. It made me who I am today.
Well, I've had to cut direct family members out of my life.
Mhm.
I never advised somebody to do that. It was just a path that I needed to take to become who I am today. But I've known from spirit that the conversations that need to happen will happen on the other side. Plus, something I discovered through one of my session with you in childhood, I had a lot of difficulty when I first heard, without getting into too many details, but very quickly. And I'm so grateful. And I'm not special, you guys. Nobody is special in the way that because I can hear guides or you can hear guides or angels. We all have these abilities. We all have these teams behind us. But the beauty in it was that's exactly what was shown to me, that this was the role that this person agreed to play so that I could take the experience. And it was not a positive experience, but I could forgive them. Not
Yeah.
for the act of what had happened, but forgive them because that's not really who they are. I know that when we all go back home, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways, because I know a lot of people are scared of dying, but there
Mm-hmm.
are some shamanic tools that, because like there's spirit flight, where you can basically leave your body
Mm-hmm.
and then you're pulled back down into it. And I remember when I was on my spirit flight, looking down at my body, and all there was love. And then it was such a cool feeling. I didn't want to come back, but such is life. But there is also something called where you're kind of laying down, kind of like you're on your deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of like, oh gosh, sacred drama. That's what it's called, where you get to say what you need to say to your loved ones, whether they're there or not. But somebody can play the role of your mother. Somebody can play the role of your brother or your
Wow.
dad, whatever. But that way you get it out on the open and you can leave with a clear conscience.
I never heard of that, and I want to talk more about that because what I've often said to people is everything. If you break it down to everything is energy. Pictures in particular hold energy. Now it's not the same, but you can put a picture of the person that you're having those issues with and say what you need to say. But that is, I think that takes a special person to take on that role. Mind you, I guess if you're not connected to the emotions and everything with it, that you are agreeing to be that stand-in, or would I be wrong about that? Because I would
No,
find it be difficult.
but but it has been done in shamanic cultures
Mm-hmm.
or in indigenous cultures, and it seems to bring peace to the person that is
Absolutely.
um, on on their way home. And even if their mother is in spirit or
Yeah.
has to travel and isn't there in time,
Right.
it's just a way to help them resolve any issues, ask forgiveness, you know, tell people that they love them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very moving. It's very touching.
A lot of
Um,
people need that. I can tell you, working in palliative care, and even with a friend of mine who had a relative who was on a ventilator, and they said, the minute we remove the ventilator, it'll be over, and it wasn't. And they couldn't figure out why were they still here. And I was explaining that that's between your loved one and source or God or whatever your belief system is. They may have a reason for why they're still staying. But also, I have found with palliative care, a lot of people will hang on and, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, maybe to have that conversation. I think that's incredible that you could give that to somebody in shamanic, culture, because what a gift. Because then you're exactly what you said, you can leave. What's been said has been needed to be said, and release it, and then be able to cross or pass much more easily, I would think.
and they don't have any unresolved issues.
Hmm. I think that's powerful. Now we got a few comments here. Pause Malone, Heidi says, is still slapping me when I cry. I reflect on pausing, not getting wrapped up, and letting my thoughts run. Well, I think it's because our animals, and we're going to get more into the shamanic, you guys, I promise, because it's just Julie has this incredible role that you're so unique with what you do, and you're very powerful with what you do in such a great way. You help so many people, Julie. And the thing is, our animals communicate telepathically, do they not? So the fact that Heidi shared that when she's crying, I'm sure I'm guessing that's Kitty, with Pause Malone, is picking up on that emotion that mama's sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It helps bring you into the present. It helps keep you from, because normally when we're upset, we're either worrying about the future or something in the past has upset us. But it brings you into the present when your cat starts pawing you or starts licking you or starts trying to get your attention. It automatically brings you back into the present.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Lisa Martinello says, I can totally relate with the relationship with my mom. I think a lot of us have complicated relationships with mothers, but not even mothers, sometimes parents as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This is an interesting thought. So Connie Martin says, I think some mean people become mean souls. My mom had a bad experience with the ghost of a person who didn't like her since she was a child, and he would visit her and cause trouble. I'm going to say one thing, and then please feel free to jump in. That may very well not just be somebody that's crossed over, as I call it, going back home. Connie, this sounds like somebody that may very well have chosen to stay earthbound, if you will. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Julie?
I agree. Usually if they go home,
Yeah,
their
there is.
personalities are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's somebody that probably um, decide to stay, or sometimes when there is an abrupt end to their life, they're confused and so they don't know to go home. I'm not sure how all that works. You can probably elaborate more on that. Um,
No, there is. There's definitely that. So that's what this feels like to me, Connie, is that this is somebody, and there's many reasons. We have free will when we cease to exist physically on this planet. So you have the choice of crossing over. You have the choice of staying. And what I've run into with research and personal experience, and I always say, not everybody's running around thinking love and light, nor are they acting in love and light. And chances are, if you're not a great person, like, I don't know what kind of person you'd have to be kind of nasty to a kid. And then, you know, probably you're going to carry that with you if you choose to stay earthbound. Sometimes it's religious dogma that somebody believes they were such a horrible human being in life that they don't want to face the quote unquote wrath that they believe awaits them, which is not the truth. Sometimes it's revenge. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's materialism, thinking I don't want to leave my house for someone else. Or sometimes it's somebody that, exactly what you said, Julie, has passed very quickly, doesn't even realize that they no longer are in physical form. And there's many, many reasons why somebody may choose to stay earthbound. Mm-hmm.
the important thing, though, is that we all have dominion over anything in spirit.
Yes.
Although Laura Lee might disagree with that
What's that?
based on her experiences, but
No, I've always believed that 100%. I just feel that the experience that I had in my previous home, I believe there was a portal open there. I believe this had more to do with the land. And on top of that, I will 100% agree. I always say I wouldn't wish it on a blade of grass, let alone my worst enemy. I don't have a worst enemy, and I'm no better than a blade of grass. But I also know, had I not had the experience that I did, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. And I would have needed a profound experience like what I went through with that haunting to be doing what I'm doing today. I planned to be a doctor, go to medical school, figure out some other way to get back into doing what I was doing before. So I agree 100% with you. We do have dominion. So I also don't know, too, looking back on it now, there may have been somebody around me with a bit of an attachment. I also think that, too.
Yeah, could very well be.
The more I look at it, the more I see, and the more time I've been away from it. So I believe 100% exactly what you just said. I think that with us being here, we do have dominion when we're here. And especially with negative things. Like, I was getting physically attacked in my previous home, but until I understood the principles of energy and like attracts like energy, once I used to hate to hear, you got to raise your vibration. I used to hate to hear that. Now that I understand it, that by raising the energy in the home, I was no longer a match for those lower vibrational. I don't know where they came from. I don't even know what they were. I know one identified itself as a demon. Now, was that because I always say I'm a retired Catholic. Was forced to be a Catholic. I don't know. I always say I'm not going to know all the answers till we go back home. But go ahead. Sorry.
I was forced to be Catholic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss, she's over in the future. Always going to tell her that. Glad to have you here, Miss. She says, good day, working at work, listening. She's over in Australia, so it's Tuesday morning. And Heidi says, yes, my big orange tabby that always crosses his paws. So agree with what you were saying just a few minutes ago, Julie. Let's see. People are saying hi to Mish. Okay, so this is an interesting comment. Mish says, depends on how angry you were when you passed. And she says she struggles, Mish, too, with the not knowing you passed. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Julie. I'm happy to, but if you want to, you're more than welcome.
Go ahead.
So everybody's entitled to their belief systems, Mish. And on top of the fact that I know from what I've received from Spirit, and also, although I don't specifically remember my near-death experience as a toddler, when people talk about it, and I've studied it for over 40 years, professionally and personally, it doesn't matter what frame of mind you were in when you leave here. It was kind of like you might not have tuned in yet. We're here to have a human experience, and including experiencing the breadth and depth of emotions that we can experience as a human being. Over on the other side, there is nothing but love. You are not in your human form when you go back home. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, Julie. What do you think?
I agree. I think if you do cross over, once you get there, it's all love. All the fear, all the anger, all the disappointment, all of that is gone. And you realize that it was just a role you were playing. And, you might have to go back and play that role again because maybe you didn't learn your lesson. Maybe you didn't get rid of all those emotions and see people, have the patience to see people who they are and to resolve or learn forgiveness of yourself and others.
And there's also karma, which isn't punishment for people that think, and I've been guilty of saying myself over the years, karma is a biatch, I'll say on air. But karma is not a punishment. So say in your previous life that you've caused a lot of pain and sadness and very negative things to other people. Eventually, you're going to have the experience, I believe, in a lifetime to experience from the perspective of what that feels like. I don't know. What do you think karma is, Julie?
Well, I do believe what goes around comes around. So if you are really negative in this life, and you're going to start generating more things that are negative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the way energy works, because
But it's not a punishment, right?
it's
It's
not a
the way energy
punishment. It's
works.
just a result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you put out there, and I also believe that, and it's so weird too to try and explain this, but the way I understand it is, we're up there, we've decided, and then you'll hear many different perspectives on reincarnation and what it is and how it is and what. I can only give you my perspective. I always say I don't know everything, and I don't think any of us will know the true answer till we go back home ourselves. But the way it's been shown to me is we decide, and I think too that souls that have been through many lifetimes are, it's almost like, and it's kind of a cliche that God doesn't give you more, basically more than you can handle. Well, I don't think it's God that does. I think it's us as a soul choosing the experience to incarnate into. And the way it was explained to me years ago, and it's like, say you're an older soul and you can handle a lot. So you think as you're going along, picking out what you're going to do in this lifetime you're going into. Yeah, I think I'll have alcoholic parents, and I'm going to be a victim of DV and a victim of SA. Sorry, guys, can't say the words on YouTube. And I'm going to be homeless, and I'm going to have addictions, and I'm going to piling all this stuff on, right? I want to have all these experiences and learn from it. And then it's almost like you have these wise elders up there saying, well, hang on just a minute. You may want to think about that, because you're going to have to experience all this, right? And I always joke and say, I wish I would have read the fine print. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Because the universe never says no. They always say yes. So if you are thinking negative thoughts, then okay, you get more negative stuff. So
Yeah.
you can learn, you can grow. If you're thinking, oh, I need strength, okay, we'll give you more things to make you strong.
Yeah.
More obstacles, more challenges, and then if you start thinking good thoughts, then it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll give you that dream job you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why I always say, and I know with you, I want to say hi to Sonia Roy. She's been on the Angel Rock many times, and I know she's coming on the next couple of weeks, you guys. So get ready for that. It's it's exactly what you're saying, though, right? Or that's where I was going. Sorry, I got distracted there for a sec. Is I always say, with everything being energy, but what people don't recognize is how powerful our thoughts, our emotions, and our words are. Because exactly what you said, the universe does not say no. So if you're thinking negatively, right, and you're putting that out there, you get what you're asking for. That's why the law of attraction works. That's why being able to manifest and create, and people aren't aware of that. And I'm telling you, I'm really becoming cognizant of it as of late, because I maybe it's just a reminder for me, but watching YouTube all the time or something in the background, I'm not watching negative things. But I can't tell you, maybe it's just because I'm cognizant of it. I've heard so many people say, well, it doesn't really matter what I say or what the words are, the words I use. Yes, it does.
Words are like spells.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always like to do gratitude in the morning when I get up, because that makes you have a better day. And if you say gratitude when you're going to bed,
Yes.
Spirit's going, because when we're asleep, that's when Spirit's doing what Spirit does so well and manifesting. And it's like, oh, she liked that. She's grateful for that. We're going to give her more of that.
Yes. Carrie Lynn says, give me patience. Well,
You're going to find more things to be patient about.
Well, I was never an impatient person, but I can tell you, I really do have a lot of patience. And the one thing I always say is, not that they'd be listening, but I always say about my own mother in particular, she didn't teach me a lot of things. The one thing she taught me was, and I'm going to say this, how to be a good mom, because I did whatever she didn't do. I did the opposite. And the child I had, the second one, required a lot of patience. And it wasn't difficult. It was almost like a constant reminder. Even if I felt like losing my patience, I would hear almost what I had heard as a child, and just all of a sudden, just calm would come over me. But it was the experiences and remembering, right? What you put out is what you get back. Now, I think this is an interesting comment. because I'm not going to disagree with that. I want to hear your thoughts. So, for sure, Julie. Connie says, I truly believe that there are demons, just like there are angels. I feel you can't have one without the other. I agree.
I agree as well, because you have to balance the good and the bad, the yin and the yang. So yeah.
And I think it's semantics, okay, because whether people want to call it whatever they want to call it, right? When I had the experience I did years ago in a dream that happened like it was 10 minutes ago, it identified itself as a demon. It told me its name. It told me how to spell it. Then I was on a podcast with about 10 people. Somebody had asked me, previous guest, so I thought it was their podcast. Wow, was I in for a surprise when I showed up? But somebody that had been on a lot of TV for Bigfoot, believe it or not, I don't know what it was, but they just decided they were coming for me. I'll tell you, well, I used to be a demonologist. All these people are going, I didn't know you were a demonologist, and there's no way that could have happened because they don't give you the name and they don't give you the spelling. I'd never heard this name before. And when I had the dream, I could not find anything on this name. And then I was helping somebody else about 5 or 6 years later, and I just about fell off the bed because I was looking up a name for them. And the name I'd been given, the exact spelling and the animal form was given to me. Right there on the page, black and white. I just about fell over. Then on top of it, part of the description, I don't think I've ever said this on air before, was described as one of the first 40 angels that were part of the fallen angels. Now, again, do we get into religious dogma? Whatever it wasn't good. So that's where I go with that. I don't want to argue with people about it, but I agree, Connie. We can't have one without the other on this planet, right? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's night, whether it's day, whether it's light, whether it's dark. So that's the way I look at it. Whoops, I didn't mean to highlight that again. Sorry. Hang on, I'm going through here. Oh, okay. This one I get a lot, and I want to hear your thoughts. I'm not going to say anything, and no criticism. I think it's and I know you would never do that anyways. It's an interesting statement. So Heidi says, OMFG. Do not want to reincarnate here again, but I am a seeker of knowledge, and with that, lessons to be learned. So I love that, but I can't tell you how many people I've heard that from over the years. Yep, this is my last turn at Earth. Yep, I'm not coming back. There's no way. I am done. I am not reincarnating here. That's it. That's that. So what's your thoughts on that?
A, I'm not sure we have a choice.
Yes.
B, I've heard there's a list to come, a laundry list of people that want to reincarnate. And
right.
For some reason, we chose to come and do this of our own free will. So, maybe we get bored up in heaven with all that love and light, and we want to come down here to experience everything there is to experience. I don't know.
You know what it was, and I'd seen this on, God, I can't even remember the name of it. I was pushing it a while back ago about the podcast, Next Level Soul podcast or something to that effect. And somebody had explained this. They were channeling, and it was kind of something that was said to me years ago by my present partner, who at the time we were just friends. And I had just taken my certified angel card reading course. And I said, I only want to do angel cards because they're all positive and light. And that's all I want to do. I want nothing to do with the dark. This is before the paranormal experience. And I've never forgotten what they said to me. They said, Laura, in order, if you're going to be working in this field, you need to know both so you will know the difference. And it's kind of the same thing, I think, right? Like, and where we're going with this too, with reincarnation, where I'm going with this is, it goes back to the way I was saying earlier about looking at things with human eyes right now, right? It's hard to explain, but I try and explain it to people. It's kind of like not who we truly are. We're here truly who we're meant to be as a human being, but as a soul, when we return to soul energy, you kind of have the whole big picture from a love perspective. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought as I'm going through this.
Right, it's like we're losing the forest for the trees here in our physical bodies, whereas if we are taking a bird's eye view, it all looks different.
It came back to me as I was rambling there. So the way these people, and I agree with you, what they were explaining is if all you know is love, you don't know any different. So it's almost like the soul also has these experiences because we just don't have a human experience. We have many different experiences. So you get to come from, as I understand it, though, as a human, we really do have such an in-depth level of emotions compared to, say, if we incarnated off world or, we're a different being. But then you really true and know, like you almost like you really get it. Not that you wouldn't get it. You don't know anything but love. But when you go back home, do you see what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh my gosh, like this really is love, 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 love. And I don't think I'm putting it into the perfect perspective because once you feel love, like the way you explained your experience that you had when you were looking down on your body and you felt that feeling of love, you didn't want to come back, right? So I guess whether you've experienced a human experience, I'm trying to figure this out in my head as I'm talking. I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because I've yet to run into or researched or looked up over 40 years near-death experiences. 95% of them are all positive. I have found just in my own experiences with research. And most souls say that they didn't want to come back. There was no pain. There was nothing but love, right? Mm-hmm. So makes you wonder why you'd ever want to leave, except like maybe what you said, the soul hungers for more knowledge and
More experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Heidi says, I enjoy putting all the pieces of the puzzle together to form those universal messages. Lisa, if you're still there, you can certainly ask questions about Benjamina if you wanted to. And then Heidi says, been working on patience for years and agree gratitude is a game changer and analyzing triggers to learn from is too. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all the shadow work that we need to do to try and help heal and because like if we're triggered by a certain race for whatever reason, it's so that we can become more one, that we resolve those issues here while we're in this lifetime, help resolve those issues so we can better understand each other and be, because we are all one. And what is it that person is reflecting back on me that's making me so uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now that one of the biggest shocks for me when I started this path years ago, I had a mentor that said, what other people think of me is none of my business. And I remember at the beginning thinking, of course it's my business. I don't want people to think I'm a horrible person but that's not what she meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of goes hand in hand with walk a mile in someone's shoes. My dad used to say that to me as a little girl. And I remember asking him as a really little kid, like, what does that mean? And he was able to grasp and understand that when we have an experience, say, with a stranger, and they yell at you or they're really nasty to you or whatever it may be, right? And it's hard.
It's not about you.
Exactly, as well as to step away and to be able to hold the space and give them the grace that, you know what, you have no idea what just happened in their life, maybe that day, that week, whatever it may be, right?
And you just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And they lash out at you or whatever. But it's not about you. It's about them.
Mm-hmm. I love how you said that.
I love the 4 agreements because...
Well, let's talk about that because some people may not have heard of that before.
Now I can't remember what the 4 agreements are. One is it's not all about you. And I think it's by Don Miguel Ruiz.
I can look them up, Julie, because I forgot them too. I put you on the spot there. Miguel. Oh, there he comes out. Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay. I didn't really want his Wikipedia. That's not going to help.
Just
We
type
don't
in the
want to.
4 agreements.
Okay. Hang on. Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay. Okay. 4 agreements. Okay. I can see his page here. The 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. I don't think you can go wrong with that, could you?
No.
No, he explains it. Maybe I will read it for people listening. So it's be impeccable with your words, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word to offer love. Never use it to cause fear or pain in another or yourself. I think that's a big one, or yourself.
Yep.
It says, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Now, that's a hard one to think about and to remember, but I think that's so important, right?
Yeah, because it's not about you.
It says what others say and do is a result of their own dream or perception of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. And it says, don't make assumptions. Find the quiet courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. It's true, because how much this one thing I always say to people, because people always will say to me, why do you always voice message? First of all, I always say because my phone thinks it can spell better than me, which is true. More time correcting it with all the people I talk to. But so much is lost in translation when it comes to a text or an email, I find all the time. Have you found that too?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Not so much with people you know, but people that I don't know well. Um, and I try to be very careful with what I type or what I write, but people, a lot of times I've found people having a disagreement or whatever it is, talking about it, or I'll hear about it over a message, that if they actually just talked face to face or over video or over a phone, they find out that it was a complete miscommunication, because you don't hear
Mhm.
the intonation, or I don't think people realize that we feel the emotion from others.
Right.
And
And I know there's been times where somebody's said something that in a text that sounded kind of snippy.
that's what I'm talking about.
And it's
Yes.
like, and when I asked them about what's going on here, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it was no big deal. It's like it sometimes in text it comes across a different way just
That's what I'm
based
talking
on the
about.
words.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about. And it seems like somebody's being rude or snippy or whatever it might be. And instead of maybe just stopping to ask, say, I'm not quite sure what you meant by what you said there. And 9 times out of 10, it
It was
just,
an innocent mistake or an innocent text.
yeah, just was miscommunicated. Like, context is everything. But I also think emotion and a conversation can really clear up a lot of things. The last one is always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. One thing I'm going to add with that too, the only person you have to measure, I believe, by doing your best is yourself. So if I always say, if you can do your best that you did the day before or even a little better, great. But don't ever measure yourself by somebody beside you, or
Right.
you see on Instagram, because that's a big one people talk about, right? About people with these perfect lives and perfect homes and perfect. All you get to see is what's on the camera. You don't
Only
get.
a snapshot in time. You don't see what's behind the camera, and most of those people are wearing a mask anyway.
Yeah. So the only person to measure yourself by doing your best is yourself. So Don Ruiz also says it will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick when you're trying to do your best. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think that's powerful.
Most
Sonia,
definitely.
oh, go ahead, Julie. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
just said most definitely.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I promised you guys, I just remembered, I had remembered at the beginning of the show and I forgot, I got busy, is I had promised you guys before Christmas. Now, Julie has never held me to this, nor Richie ever. I'm holding myself to this. I promised you guys that we will go live together. I'm finally, knock on wood, 10 weeks, starting to feel better. Julie and I will find time to go live together, won't we, Julie? I'm putting you on the spot.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
go live in my group multiple times a week these days doing live energy healing sessions and free pet communication. Sometimes I'll throw in just, random intuitive readings or whatever comes up type of things. In fact, I think I've got all 3 sessions this week, and I'll probably won't be able to talk by the weekend, but such is life.
So Sonia Roy says, in order to come here, you volunteer. Then she also added, you came here to learn lessons, and once you enter the cycle, you must complete it. If you do not wish to come back, you need to free yourself from accumulated karma and start being kind, compassionate, and forgive. Lastly, learn your lessons. And like I said, I think we all pick up different bits and pieces from the other side. And I can't disagree with what Sonia said. And I can also say the interesting thing is when we get a bunch of people in a room together, gosh, we could have a whole coliseum. We get it bigger than that. Everybody will always, the way we interpret what we receive from spirit, to be able to add to that whole message. What's your thoughts? Yeah.
I agree. And sometimes we are trying to clear the karma of generations.
I was just thinking that. Yes.
In our relationships and how we deal with people. And, there's these cycles we keep repeating because we won't get off the hamster wheel and get out of our comfort zone and make changes.
Or decide it stops with me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I was raised this way. I choose not to raise my children or live my life that way. And it stops with me. And it can. You don't have to do it just because that's the way you were raised or whatever it may be. And if it is really generational, maybe trauma or energy but the other thing that popped into my head, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about curses or generational curses? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really believe in curses. But I'm trying to find the right words for this. I believe it is karma that is passed down, and that it's something that, like
Yes.
alcoholism or SA that was done to our grandparents, and they did it to their sons and daughters, and then they became parents and did it to their sons and daughters. So I'm thinking that it's something that's passed down kind of along the generational line. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think when it comes to somebody, well, I'm going to put it out there for myself, use myself as an example. Not being egocentric for people listening, but see what your thoughts are when you're hearing this. So I had come back from a retreat and it did not go well. Let's just say it wasn't what I thought it would be, including the people that were around me, including somebody I'd kind of been mentoring. And I found out while I was at this retreat that this person was into some very, very dark things, including, as my light goes up behind me, I see. including including dark magic, dark things, dark entities that I had no idea about. And I decided to cut corners with them. But when I got home, I had some really weird stuff happening. Mind you, I was in my previous home. And I had a lot of bad things happen to me really, really, really quickly, including breaking my ankle on air. Thank God we weren't on camera. We could all see one another on Skype, but we couldn't. You just heard us. I don't know how I didn't yell, but apparently I turned 10 shades of green. But all this stuff happened in a really short period of time. And I went, did he curse me? And as soon as I said that to myself, I thought, no, nope, don't know what it is, but what I'm just going to say is, because it's energy, you're sending negative energy. I've had that happen. I've had people, I don't get a lot of people angry with me, but one time I did have something sent to me paranormally that wasn't positive, wasn't sent intentionally, but the person was angry. And I had 4 different intuitive people mention that it wasn't intentional, but by what they had thought and what they had felt, they were that powerful that something negative was sent. They didn't even work with these kind of things. Anyways, back to the curse. As soon as I thought that, I immediately changed my thinking. I think it was spirit that reminded me. Curses have power when we believe in them. So what my choice was how to handle this was, if anything was sent to me, all I am doing with this is saying, return to sender with love. Because to me, if somebody is sending something energetically that's not positive and in love and light, they probably do need you to send love. I didn't attach anything negative. And I really believe that curses, when you've been told that somebody curses you, I actually was watching somebody talk about this on Instagram the other day, that the most power you can give to a curse is if you say to somebody else, I curse you, and this is what I curse you, I curse you, I curse you. And the person will take that on and start to think about it and think about it and think about it.
Yeah.
And that gives it the power. So what do you think about that, or anybody else that's listening?
Well, I have another story too.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
This was from one of my shamanic teachers, Alberto Villoldo. He's an anthropologist, and he was asked to go, I guess, to Tahiti or one of the places that does voodoo. And so he was talking to the voodoo priestess, and he says, well, how do you send negativity to somebody, or how do you curse somebody? And so she told him about sending energy. He says, okay, well, how do you heal people? The same way. So it's all about your intention.
You just said it so perfectly. But I did. Okay. So and it wasn't me thinking, oh my God, he cursed me. He cursed me. He cursed me. I really did have a lot of crappy stuff happen the week when I was back, like really bad stuff. And all of a sudden it hit me. Like, how did he curse me? And it was literally like I heard spirit say, stop.
Well,
and I took a breath.
Well, it's funny too, because Alberto's kind of said, oh, I don't believe that type thing. And he went home to Los Angeles or wherever he was living at the time. And all of a sudden he went out to dinner. He got very sick. And he called them up and he said, oh, so you did get it. Because they had wanted to prove to him that it was real.
But then when you get into it, these are the things I don't think we'll ever have concrete answers with, but it's an interesting discussion. Because why does magic work? Why does spells work? Because it's intention and belief. And I think we are that powerful as human beings.
Yeah.
And not everybody's running around thinking love and light. So again, we get into semantics, like the talk about demons and angels, right? Some people will equate a demon with religious dogma. Is that what it is? Or is it just a very low vibrational negative entity, dimensional from God knows where, lower astral realm, whatever somebody's belief system is? It's the same thing with this. And I've seen this happen before, because a curse isn't magic, but a curse can be intention. And especially in certain cultures, like with the evil eye and people believing about that kind of stuff, or like you said, he didn't believe in this sort of thing, and he went out and got very, very ill. And they said, oh, we just wanted to see if you received it. So it's one of those things where I don't think we'll ever have anything concrete. But I guess the way you broke it down is the best way to look at it, is that it's about intention. Now, when it's generational, then we get into, is it karma or is it?
Right.
But then again, if you think about it, he's no longer alive. But Dr. Chuck Kennedy, I know, and I'm so sad that he never was able to finish this. He was doing a study of people that are aware of and utilizing their intuitive abilities. He was using actually even a CT scan to map parts of the brain when people were using their imagination versus what he called the region of psi, which he believes was located behind the left ear. And that's where psychic ability is from what he could map. But the research study he was doing, because he found, and I can concur from myself, he said he's run into a lot of people. He said most that he had run into were women, not all, but a lot that use their intuitive abilities and would maybe identify as a psychic or a medium or an energy healer or what. A lot of us have autoimmune issues, whether it's fibromyalgia, chronic pain, rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, it could go on and on and on. So he was doing a study because he wanted to get into, see, was this something genetically almost attached to the maternal or mother's mitochondrial DNA? And I know he didn't finish this study. I wish he could have, because I would have loved to have seen the results of it.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Or the fact that he believed that he had mapped. There's actually a video on YouTube. Do you know who Katrina Cooper is? She's a medium.
No, I don't believe so.
No? Oh, she's pretty good with mediumship as well. But I know there's a video of her. She has a lot in the paranormal as well with her bestie Rhodey Speak. I know them both from my friend Jason Bland's show, Paranormal Soup. But there is a video of Katrina actually being mapped. It wasn't a CT scan. I was wrong about that. EEG machine.
Okay.
I was thinking about, I had him on my show quite a few years ago, and he was joking, yeah, Laura Lee, I wanted to do it with a CT scan, but since you don't have a couple mil to send to me, I had to go back to the old way they used to map brain waves. It was with an EEG machine like they use to map. See, I know you'll know, but for people listening, the way they map the brain for seizures. And he actually has her being mapped on video as he's talking about when he can tell when she's using her mediumship abilities and when she's not. It's kind of a fascinating video. Mm-hmm. Oh, Stone Hobbit, I missed you. Hello. We missed a lot of comments. So if you guys have some questions for, or comments you want to add, I'm going to, the other thing I missed too before I head over to our comments was from Michelle Wilfong. She says, Julie is amazing. She said, had a great relationship with my mother. I was a shady mess. She never gave up on me. And that's beautiful to hear. And then she said, Michelle for herself, she says, I agree. I used to be like, what's raising your vibration mean? She says, now I know that one is important. It definitely is. So we missed quite a few comments here. So hang on. I got to go back here a little bit. Oh, okay. So we got Sherry Madigan. I'm sorry, Sherry, if we missed you. Hello. She said hello. So Lisa is asking, can you tell me why Benjamina, her cat, she seems or acts so unsettled and appears upset every time I'm out of sight or leave the house? What can I do for her? I already know, but you go ahead. I'm not putting you on the spot. It's just what I'm picking. And I know Lisa and I know Benjamina. So,
Well, just trying to tap into Benjamina real quick.
If you need a picture, Lisa can send one.
No, that's all right.
I know you don't usually need one, but.
So she just gets upset when you're not in the room?
Or when she leaves the house and she's saying, what can I do for her?
It's like you two are connected. If you're leaving the house or something, let her know when you're coming back. If you are, if she seems stressed, because this isn't a whole lot of information to go on, but if she seems stressed, there's something called Bach Rescue Remedy that you can put in her food. It's for pets. It's a liquid. It's all natural, and it helps calm them down.
Mm-hmm.
You can also play cat calming music, which is free on YouTube. YouTube is wonderful that way. But it could also be too that she needs like her energy realigned.
I think so too.
Because thank you, Spirit.
She says, yes, I'm doing those things. Mm-hmm.
Well, animals actually have 9 major chakras within their body. Humans only have 7. Mm-hmm. They also have a brachial chakra, which is part of the human-animal bond. And it also kind of oversees all the other chakras. There's also a sensing chakra. And you know how animals can hear better than us, see better than us, smell better. It's because they have a sensing chakra and we don't. And when that sensing chakra is out of alignment, it can lead to overreactivity or underreactivity to noises, people, situations, events, training cues, all of that. So, and then there's also minor chakras. The major chakras are like the core style and an old-fashioned radio, and the minor chakras are the fine-tuning. So, like if the animal has a digestive issue, you need to do the solar plexus chakra, because that's the one that supplies energy to the stomach area. And then also the digestive chakra, which is the minor chakra, that's the fine-tuning. And generally when you do that, the animal is feeling a lot better.
What would you do? Because Julie blows my mind with the healing that she knows and can work with the animals. I am telling you, it blows my mind because she's worked with some of my animals. But what would you do for grounding? Because I'm just going to throw in what I was picking up, and I agree with you 100%. Benjamina came to Lisa because, without giving too much information, that as a kitten, about a 6-month kitten, but came as a kitten to her daddy, I'll say. And daddy passed away very unexpectedly.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, and I get the feeling when I'm picking up, and I could be wrong. That's why it might be good, Lisa, even just to connect with Julie about this. That on top of everything you've just picked up, which I agree with 100%, is I think Benjamin is worried that mama's not going to come home because and I'm saying your mama now versus daddy was there, and all of a sudden daddy wasn't there. Daddy's gone. Daddy's in spirit. So part of that. So the only thing I was picking up was a need for grounding, as well as, and you probably do this already, Lisa, but again, agree 100%. So imperative that you really, even though you may think your animals or anybody else listening don't know how to tell time, they can. You can tell them, I will be back by, say, if it's a regular dinner time or a TV program you put on, or you could tell them there's certain days that you do things. They will know, even if you tell them time. Their higher self will know what that means. So I agree 100%, Julie, but also leaving clothing that you've really worn too. And I'm sure you probably do that already, Lisa. But what could you, because I keep feeling like some grounding is needed too. So would you go in through the chakras, Julie? Because I don't know anything about it.
There's a special way to do an animal, because you do go from the crown.
Oh, no, she ate 2 of her grounding course.
Huh?
That, Julie. Benjamina ate through 2 of Lisa's grounding cords, she said.
Well, they're imaginary cords.
Okay.
And you just go down along the chakras, along the spine, and down to the front legs and into the ground, and make sure they're to the core of the earth, the branches of the roots spread out, and make sure that she's really ground. But then you do it a second time, and now go farther down the spine and go down the back legs and solidify them in the ground, and spread out the roots and all that good stuff. But then you do it the third time, and now go down to the tip of the tail. even if the tail has been docked to the tip of the tail, even like the imaginary tail that's no longer
Yeah, because the energy field would still be there even the tail's been
right,
docked, or ears.
and then take it down into the ground and spread out the roots and make sure they're very solidified. That's the way I do it.
I've never, I wouldn't even begin to profess the knowledge that Julie has when it comes to animal healing. And she's always so respectful. It doesn't matter whether it's a human being or animals, but I am telling you, she blows my mind with the things that you know, just with working. Well, you know, I've told you this so many times, Julie, and I know you're so humble, but the things she knows, and I'm telling you, I have seen major changes in behavior with my animals with working with Julie. So Heidi's worried about Paz Malone. I love the name, by the way. She said, I would be ever so grateful if you could see any insights on Paz Malone. He got outside and somehow got scratched on his back. The area developed an abscess without any symptoms, but I'm worried about him.
Oh dear.
She wants to do a session with you, Lisa said, as you're tuning in, but from Benjamin, thank you. And I want to do a session with you for her and also for me, she said.
Okay. I'd be happy to work with your Benjamina.
And she says she wants to do one with you too.
So what was the question?
Okay, so going
Paz
back
Malone?
Heidi. Sounds like Paz Malone got outside and got either a scratch or a scrape on their back, and an abscess developed without any symptoms, but she's very worried about him, she said.
Well, first of all, I'm not a vet, so if an abscess developed, I would take him to the vet.
I have something I can suggest, but listen to the expert first, please. In the way of, and it comes to energy and healing. Why are you coming over all of a sudden? Because we're talking about animals. You've decided to come over? Well, come on over and say hi to Julie. You know Julie. This is Emmy.
Yeah, I'm getting that needs to go to the vet.
You guys knocked me over.
I'm getting right now that energy healing would not help that. I'm trying to think if there's something topical you could use, or because some over-the-counter human medicines work with animals.
Yeah, I know.
I think Benadryl is one of those, but please check YouTube. Please use your own discernment.
Yeah, Benadryl would be more for itchies or an allergic reaction.
Yeah, I don't know what would be safe for an animal to use.
I believe polysporin would, but I would double check. Just you can look it up online anywhere. Because the other thing I was going to suggest, and see what you think about it, Heidi, I'm seeing Heidi's name, Julie, therapeutic touch, which means you don't touch it. It still needs a vet's eyes, definitely. But do you ever use it? Because you have to be careful, obviously, with an animal with it, because they're so sensitive.
I don't use therapeutic touch.
Okay. I was thinking for somebody, though, at home that could do it, because you're just working with the energy field. But either that, or once you've seen the vet, I would recommend 100%.
I'm getting that would not help.
Not help either.
In this case.
I didn't need so much help, but I thought maybe with you, once you figure out what it is and you get the medical stuff with the healing, I was thinking. No.
Yeah, I'm getting with this particular situation, it would not be helpful.
Okay.
I'm getting, it's probably helpful in other situations, but with this particular situation, I don't think it would be helpful. But if you're going to use polysporin or something like that, like an anti-inflammatory or whatever, make sure they've got a cone on, because I don't know that would be safe if they tried to lick it off.
Okay, so this is something Lisa's offering, because when I said therapeutic touch, I didn't mean now. Like, I would be at a vet if I could, and this is why, because Lisa just offered this. I forgot about this with Benjamina. She said Benjamina was attacked and later developed an abscess. I took her to a vet so they could drain the abscess, gave her antibiotics and several rechecks. Now, this was Benjamina. Heidi's Pause Malone. So that would be probably the first thing. But you always recommend that, Julie, and I think that's the responsible thing to do when it's something like this, because an abscess can cause major issues. Like you had mentioned, I think, Heidi, that Pause Malone, that it was sort of asymptomatic when you discovered that it had the abscess. So always seek vet care, right?
Yeah, because I'm not a vet, and energy healing is more for like chronic issues and but acute issues, sometimes the best, and energy healing might help eventually, but you want to get that nipped in the bud. You want to go ahead and get that taken care of. And, you know, the vets have they can give antibiotics that will help prevent infection and all this stuff. And they do have training in that area.
Mm-hmm. Depending on where you live too, sometimes there's vets that offer homeopathic or naturopathic healing. The other one I'm going to mention, I think it's called Vet Secrets, you guys. He is a veterinarian. Let me just check and make sure that's what his channel is. Vet Secrets. I recommend this to a lot of people, because if I'm not calling anybody out here, but if you are on a real budget, and even though you've got a fur baby that you adore, it's called Vet Secrets on YouTube. This guy is amazing. He is a Canadian vet. Dr. Andrew is his name. His first name's Andrew. And he will actually go through an assessment with human beings watching his channel, telling you, yes, this needs to be checked. This needs to be checked. And of course, he would never fool around with something like an abscess, but he will give you some more natural things or safe things that are safe for, say, a cat versus a dog or another animal. Because lots of times when something's safe for a dog, it may not be for a cat, and vice versa. So if that's something that you may want to look at, we're not giving medical advice here, but I'm telling you, I found him helpful for myself, utilizing him. Actually, you know who it was, Julie? You met her, Sophie. Sophie had vomiting really, really bad from a fur ball. And she needed to get that fur ball up. So again, this was my choice to do this. It was years ago. He had recommended something homeopathic, and I found it at my homeopathic thing, stopped the vomiting immediately. Sophie passed what she needed to pass, and away we went.
Yeah.
The other reason I felt comfortable, though, is because and he will go through what to look for, but I knew from physical assessment as well as going through, if she hadn't stopped vomiting, of course, I would have brought her in immediately. It did work, but I have used him. So if that's something somebody's on a budget maybe, and really, obviously I would take your advice. So if you feel, spiritually that this needs to get checked, because Heidi said, yes, I have a vet, but my last kitty, they took a biopsy of her abscess and it never healed. I'm hesitant to take him because he's doing all the normal things, but it's still scabbed. And thank you, Julie. You still
Sorry,
that's
somebody
okay.
trying to call me.
Never
Spam.
fails, eh?
There are a lot of YouTube videos from vets talking about safe over-the-counter medicine you can give your pet.
And he will too.
There's also, for an abscess, I might even use colloidal silver.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all? Uh-oh. You know what can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Something just kicked in. Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it does. It's done that to me before if I put a call and I've been on it. I'm glad it kicked in. So Heidi said, thank you. I will call and take him. She said he's my BFF. So that's good. Keep us updated, Heidi, how he's doing. Kathy had me a little. Hi. Oh, sorry, I'm late. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was going to say, and you might even want to try that colloidal silver first.
You're feeling that?
Yeah, because it's antibacterial, antiviral.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that might be an option if you're trying to reduce costs.
You guys, this went by so fast, and I'm so sorry because, well, I don't know how quickly you might be able to do this one quickly because I think it's important. But hang on, it's Sherry. She says, Julie, my dog Lobo has a terrible time scratching herself. She's a rescue from Cuba. Is it all related, and can I do something for her? Because we only got about 2 minutes left, and that's it.
Is she scratching all over? Because often that's an allergy or it's a yeast infection, because if the gut flora in the gut is overpopulated with bad yeast, the Candida albicans, it's going to start causing them to itch. Usually it starts in the paws or the ears. So if they're scratching a lot there,
and if their paws smell like corn chips, apparently that's usually an indication sometimes that there's some yeast.
But you can use Espelardi. It is a good yeast. You do that for 2 weeks. You can get it on Amazon. What that is, Saccharomyces boulardii is a good yeast. It pushes out all the Candida albicans. After 2 weeks, you start them on a good probiotic and continue the Espelardi for another 2 weeks, and then discontinue the Espelardi. Within a month, all the Espelardi is out of the system, and the gut is populated with good bacteria.
Oh, I might check that out because my Miss Emmy, I think, has some yeast. But you guys, we are out of time. I'm going to have Julie back on. I will. But Julie, I could talk to you forever. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. Could you please let people know what do you got coming up, how to get a hold of you, and
well, I'm doing lives on my business page practically every week. Different types of lives, energy lives or energy healing lives, animal communication lives, and sometimes intuitive message type lives. I think I've got one of each all week. My Facebook business page is facebook.com/J Bassett, Basset, animal communicator. And then my website is www.juliejeannebassett.com. It hasn't been updated with all my shamanic stuff yet, but hopefully I will have something soon for that.
And we didn't even really dig into the shamanic. We talked a bit of spiritual, you guys. I am telling you, the session I had with Julie, and I plan on having one soon. Heidi goes, this just went by so quick. I'm going to be having another one. It was life-changing. So please check her out. Not only is she my friend, she has helped me in so many ways. And you guys know I don't go on and on about people like that usually. I'm telling you, she is incredible. She will be able to help you with your animals as well as yourself. And mediumship as well, whether it's animals or people. She's amazing. Now, if you guys enjoyed what you see, please stay tuned for the Light Gate coming up next with Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett. If you guys ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me right now at the moment at facebook.com/The Angel Rock, or just get a hold of me on any social media platform as well. I do psychic and mediumship readings. I do energy healing, crystal Reiki. I do teaching and mentoring and speaking and teaching and mentoring. One of my BFFs, and how I connected with Julie, and she's now a very close friend of mine because of this friend. Leanne Clark and I are working on our first course we are putting out there. So if you are wanting to better get connected with your spiritual gifts, or you want to get in touch with them, we are breaking it down into easy, manageable components. I know there's a crystal course coming up that Leanne's already worked on. I call her the Crystal Wizardress. You can find her under the Crystal Architect on Facebook and Instagram. She is incredible. She's a channel. She is so intuitive. She does Akashic Records like I do. We were thinking it was going to be May. It looks like it may be towards the end of June, maybe July, but I will keep you guys posted because we're hoping to build a whole community together. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. When that happens, I will have a domain name website. That is my goal. Otherwise, yeah, get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you. Otherwise, stay tuned for Thursday when David and I will be back with the thing at the foot of the bed, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to check the group out for the thing at the foot of the bed with Laura Lee Potvin and David Hand, so you can put show ideas, ask questions, post your experiences, pictures, whatever you like. That group is there for y'all. And eventually, Dave and I have had a lot going on in the new year, but we also are planning on going live in there. So feel free to join. I also have two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, Angel Rocker Tribe for all things spiritual. And I hope you'll join me there as well. Next week, we have a new guest coming on, John Fraser. He is from over in the UK, and he has written, I think it's like the UK's top #1 paranormal and UK hauntings and things like that. So he is coming on Monday next week on the Angel Rock. Love you too. Everybody's saying love you. Hi, Janie. Oh, I don't know what's going on there, so I'm not going to get into this. Looks like people aren't too happy. But anyways, much love to y'all. Hopefully you can get over what's going on in the chat. Love y'all, and we will see you on Thursday and next Monday again. Thank you so much for everything, Julie.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.